And I believe we're now also live on YouTube. So now we have Facebook, social media is Facebook. We also have YouTube. We're going to again today make a very important and international message. We're going to go global. This is a message that was destined to happen today during this era of time, also known as perilous times. So here we are coming to the world, the planet, from the west point of the Bermuda Triangle. And if you have not studied the Bermuda Triangle, then you should study the Bermuda Triangle. Because here we are now sitting in the city of the west point of the Bermuda Triangle. And that is pinpointed exactly in the city of the South in the United States, of that state called Florida, in the city that is known as Miami. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why the west point of the Bermuda Triangle is pointed into Miami. Here we are in a suburb of Miami. It's called Brownsville. And this is the exact suburb called Brownsville where my, uh, which is father in Hebrew, came to in 1979. At that time, my father was known as Moses Israel. Moses Israel, also known in Hebrew as Moshe. And we called him Ak Moshe. That's all we knew. That's all they knew. Incognito, also known today as Yod Heh Wav Heh, Yahweh, the mighty God, Elohim. And he had a reason or more for doing that, for coming to us that way. Nevertheless, I was there. And as I am today, I'm here again. As I was then, in the beginning, here I am today in Brownsville at the last, at the round table. So I greet my people, I greet my own people of Yehuda, Judah, the so-called black people of America that were slaves, the children of slaves, also known today as African Americans. All so-called black people, African Americans, colored, jigs, spades, coons, niggers, are the children of my father, known in English as Yahweh in England, and known in the Middle East as Yod Heh Wav Heh. Anoki, 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 Mem Yod Kaf Yod Heh Wav Heh, Savah, Shal Yod Heh Wav Heh, Wab, Anoki, Yashid, Yaki, Shavah, Shel Manai, Yod Heh Wav Heh, Gawi, Yushi, Reshal of Yod Heh Wav Heh, Gawi, Yod Heh Wav Heh, Gawi, Kitma, Shemayim, Yushin Reshal of Yod Heh Wav Heh, Anoki, Anoki, Mem Sofi, Anoki, He, Reshith, Malek, Anoki, Mem, Yod, Kaf, Yod, Wav, He. Anoki, Mika. Anoki, He, Michael, Mikael. Anoki, He, the great prince, Sar, Yod, Wav, He. Baim, Reshi. Anoki, Gam, Ye, Kates. Asher, Hu, Asher Haya, Asher Bo, Hey, Shaddai, Gado Sad Mem Yod Kaviroik, Shabbat Kabod, Baruch Hashem, Yod Hidwav Hey Olam. That is who I am. Praise Yod Hidwav Hey.
Praise your Father.
And as it says in the book called Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 7, I come on this morning so that could be fulfilled. Every eye that tunes in, whether it be on social media's Facebook or social media's YouTube, every single eye that tunes in shall see me. You shall also hear my voice. Even those that pierce me shall see me. And there are witnesses who are here with me today that can see my 72-inch in height body that I have right now, that is protecting my celestial soul, that has a birthmark under my right nipple. I repeat, I have a birthmark under my right nipple in the shape of a spear's tip that I was born with on the 15th day of the seventh month of our solar calendar. The 15th day of the seventh month of our solar calendar in the solar year known as 5957. You look it up and study it. I was born with this birthmark under my right nipple in the shape of a spear's tip. And that sign, that birthmark, is a sign to this planet that I am the one whom they pierced under the right nipple with blood protruded out of my flesh. And they were crucifying that body over 2021 years ago to this calendar year known as 2021. And for the record, this recording is being recorded by our calendar on the 19th day of the 12th month of our solar calendar. And the solar year recognized today is 6023. This is also known by the Gregorian calendar, as Saturday, February 27th, 2021. We do not recognize this day. We are the children of the Celestial Lodge of Yod Hidwav, the disciples, my disciples, and his children. We do not, I repeat, we do not recognize this day as our Sabbath day. Our Sabbath day is not recognized from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. Let's make that clear. Our Sabbath day rotates, and my father made that clear and known back in 1985 as he spoke to some more social media people who came into our temple that was at the time located in the same city here in Miami in Florida at 2766 Northwest 62nd Street in Miami, Florida, zip code 33147. And he made it clear that our Sabbath day rotates. This being that it is the 19th day of the 12th month, that means, and we're pretty close to sundown again, that means in 10 more days, we'll be going to our next year that will be recognized by our Celestial Lodge, the Celestial Lodge, as the year 6024. And therefore, our Sabbath day would then rotate. We will not add 5 days unto that day. Will be recognized sometime around March the 10th. March the 10th at sundown to March 11th at sundown will be the first day of our next year. We will not add 5 days onto that year. That will complete a 360-day cycle. 360 cycle. 360. A complete circle. A cycle. And that's perfect. That would be a perfect circle of 12 months and 30 days in each of those 12 months. That equals 360. 5 days were added to put a warp in the wheel by the Greeks, by the Romans. They wanted to put a warp in the circle to add on 5 days to prolong their time to rule. You're going to hear a video in a moment to explain why they did that. And the reason why we are not going to add 5 days on to that day is because I am here who shortened those days as it was promised. Now somebody turn. I have with me angels that you whose voice you will hear at the round table. Someone read Matthew chapter 24, and I believe it's verse 22, begin at verse 22, and let's prove that. They had no idea. No, they have no idea what that means. How would those days be shortened? Some of my people, if not most of them, are still under the impression that shortening those days would mean that the days somehow, it was 11 o'clock a few moments ago, now it's 2:30, and it's getting dark already. My, how God shortened these days like he said he would. That's not shortening the days. That's you missing a couple of hours. You missed a couple of hours. What were you doing between 10:30 and 2 o'clock? It's the same time as it was. It's actually the same time as it was yesterday as it would be tomorrow. The sun doesn't move. What makes you think the days are being shortened by the sun? It's the planet that moves. See, you thought that was an astrology phenomenal to take place, an astrological phenomenal. It is not. It is a celestial phenomenal that would do that. That means one from the celestial lodge would come and do that, and he already did it. Luke says he did it. Matthew says he's going to do it. Read that, please. Did you find that? Matthew chapter 24, begin at verse what?
22.
22. What does that say?
And except those days should be shortened,
Yes.
there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake,
Mm-hmm.
those days shall be shortened.
You seem to be confused. If those days don't be short, read verse 21. I believe we have a Sabbath day or something mentioned about some Sabbath day or in the winter.
Verse 20.
Verse 20. We read verses 20 and 21, please.
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter.
You want to know why? You want to know why you should have prayed? Because those in the state called Texas did not pray. They did not pray. If they had prayed, then perhaps they would not have suffered like they had this past couple of weeks. But they do not know how to pray. They prayed to the wrong God. And even as they sat in their homes freezing to death with no water and no gas in the city, they prayed to the wrong God. And that's why it's still prolonged to this day in some parts. And I believe I heard a report that said they were like 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes, 4 minutes short to go before the entire state of Texas would have been without power. No wonder there was a record left in Matthew chapter 24 and verse 20 that said, pray that your flight be not on in the winter. And that's not just Texas. That was at least 43 states in this country that suffered that week, and it's going to continue to suffer. And you're going to see why. You're going to continue to suffer and experience these phenomenal destructions and catastrophic punishments that's coming upon you from heaven. From just like he said he would. You're going to hear it. You have no idea what you were asking for. You're praying to be delivered. You're praying for heat. You want heat. You're going to get your heat. That's one thing I can guarantee that you're going to get. You're going to get heat in the most phenomenal way by celestial lodge. But the heat that you're going to get is going to make Sodom and Gomorrah look like it was just a picnic fire at the beach. You're going to get your heat. It's coming. Pray that your flight be not in the what? In the winter?
The winter.
Neither what?
Neither on the Sabbath day.
You know why not the Sabbath day? Because most of my people today who are following the false Jews are under the impression that this is not a Sabbath day until sundown today, Saturday, February 27th, 2021. Greeting one another with Shabbat Shalom. And some of my hard-headed people are still encouraging my people to follow them with their Shabbat Shalom from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. Not so. 10 days from now, our Sabbath day that is now being recognized from sundown Tuesday to sundown Wednesday would then be recognized from sundown Wednesday to sundown Thursday. It rotates. Common sense alone should tell you if your birth date on the calendar rotates from year to year, if your birth date, not your birthday, you only had one birthday, you only had one day you were born. So why in hell are you saying happy birthday every day date on the calendar that you came out the womb? How many times can you be born? And this does not pertain to the Christians who think they'll be born again because they be baptized by some toilet water. How many birthdays do you have? You have one birthday, the day that you came out the womb. Everything thereafter becomes a birth date anniversary. A birth date, DATE anniversary, is what you will experience. Some decide to celebrate it, but we hate that. You don't celebrate no birthday. You don't celebrate no birthday or birth date. You do not do that, Judah. Yehuda, stop it. But common sense alone, if you should find some common sense somewhere at the flea market, wherever you go to find common sense today, the mall, you should know if your birth date fell on a Wednesday this year, the next year it's going to fall on a Thursday. If it fell on a Sunday this year, the next year on that date, the calendar is going to fall on a Monday. It rotates. And so does our Sabbath day. It rotates. The date rotates. Not the day. The date rotates. Why? Because this planet rotates around the sun. It also revolves around the sun. So the 360 days revolves and then the date rotates of our Sabbath day. So you better pray that it be not on Sabbath day because you're going to keep the wrong Sabbath day and you're going to be burned with those on the beach. Read the rest of it again, please.
But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter,
Okay, that's clear.
neither on the Sabbath day.
Yes.
For then shall be great tribulation.
Great tribulation. What kind of tribulation?
Great.
Great. You think wearing a mask right now to go to Walmart or to go to Small Mart or whatever mart you choose to go to wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart. You think that's tribulation. That's not tribulation. It's coming. Texas thought they went through a tribulation. They're just getting warmed up. What they had was a preview. It was coming, but worse. And other states, like about 48 more, 47 more, we're including Texas. 47 more with Texas are going to experience more than that. And let's not forget the two that were adopted. That's known as Alaska and Hawaii. And their stepchild known as Puerto Rico. The stepson. Puerto Rico. Sí, habla español. Pero mi español no es muy bueno. Ayúdame, por favor. Tú ayúdame. Your escuela. Tú sientes, se cae, oh, se cayó. Sí, soon. Jesus. You better pray. But see, you don't know how to pray. You pray unto the wrong God. The wrong God. What else you have in Matthew that they should do?
Such as was not since the beginning of the world.
Do you comprehend what that means? Even those who are still standing under Satan the devil? Those who are still standing under Satan the devil, that was hidden under the word understand. Do you know what that means? That means it's a time coming, just what it says, that was not like it since there was a nation. Even to that same time. That must also mean, that's coming from Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. That must also mean that Michael is here, standing up for the children of our people. He's got to be here. Hallel is here. Perilous here. He showed you. He's here by going in front of a church. A church.
Mm.
Holding up a Bible upside down. Let you know that he has the whole world upside down in his hands. He have the whole world in his hands, upside down. You have the nerve to sing it in church. You think it's a hymn. You didn't know who it was. You thought it was Jesus. It's not Jesus El Jesus that has the whole world in his hands, upside down. It's Hillel, the opposite of right side up. You also know him as Donald John Trump Sr. And Junior followed close behind, knowing the Bible is Cain. You know, I told you I'd be back to tell you this. I reveal all truth. I don't pull no punches. And Hillel knows that. And when he sees this video, he's going to grit his teeth and gnaw. He's going to gnaw his gums. He's going to be gnashing his teeth with anger. And it's you too, Joe. You're not going to escape this. You are his successor. You're known as a pharaoh in Egypt. And you, if you be obedient, your days will be prolonged on this planet, so you'll be able to shake my hand. How? Let my people go. Let my people go. Let my people go. And if thou refuse, Texas would be like putting some milk in the refrigerator. Yes. Wait till you try and put some ice cream in the freezer. Praise Yod Wafe. These are the perilous times that are coming. This is just a preview. You go to a restaurant, the waitress comes to the table before she was wearing a mask and ask you if you want an appetizer. What you are receiving right now is the waitress. You don't even have the appetizer yet. You just got the waitress coming to the table. You put your finger there. You hold it there for a minute. Somebody go to, I think it's 1 Timothy chapter 3. 2 Timothy chapter 3. Someone go there and read that. It's another angel's voice. See, these angels' voices that you're hearing were prophesied to be heard. It's found in a book called Revelation. You heard one angel's voice. Now you're going to hear another angel's voice. And then you're going to hear a loud voice that's coming from the throne. And then you're going to see someone with a sickle in his hand cutting the corn and the wheat out of the field. It's coming. That's chapter 14 of Revelation. Read that, please. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. Nice and loud so this planet, the whole planet can hear your voice.
Second Timothy 3, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
This know also.
Wait. This know also? See, that also is not what you think it is. See, each English letter that they have adopted from the Phoenicians is a symbol. And they're also abbreviations of other words. You see in your Bible, ALSO. The AL is an abbreviation for all. The SO is for souls. So know all souls. And no one can tell you that except the one who hid it. Some thought they were copying. Some thought they were copying from the one who wrote it. But they copied in error. They copied in error. You do err, E-R-R. Say it again. Ye. See who? What does it say? Does it say Y-E? This know also. That what?
That in the last days,
In the
perilous times shall come.
In the last days, perilous times shall come. And here's some nations that are being paralyzed. You thought it was perilous? It's not just perilous. Most nations in Europe right now are paralyzed. And most states in this country right now are paralyzed. Even in late February, you still have more snow coming. Have you seen the treasures of the snow that were preserved for the day of Jacob's trouble? That's Job chapter 38, verse 22. Make a note and read it. Job chapter 38, verse 22. You haven't even seen the hail yet. And you have the nerve to say, Hail Caesar. You don't know what you were saying. It's going to be Hail Caesar, all right. Mexico only got a preview back a couple years ago when those talents fell in Mexico. The size of some of them were Volkswagen, the size of Volkswagen, some of them. You haven't seen hell yet. It's some hell that's coming. It's going to fall on men. They're going to blaspheme the name of my God. Cussing him out because it's going to fall on their head and kill him. What else it says in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse
For
2?
men shall be lovers of their own selves.
And that's what we have today. There are men, especially in politics, that are loving their own self. Not only that, you have men that are homosexuals and gay men loving their own selves. Yeah, they call them homosexual, just like in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's also in Matthew 24. As it was in the days of Noah, so as it was in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. Lovers of their own selves, boosting their own selves on television in front of thousands of people collecting money, even wearing a mask with TD and snakes and Michael and Bill and Jeffrey. And I'm not speaking of Jeffrey Osborne either. LTD. Your time is limited. Yeah, well, what else it says?
Covetous,
Covetous,
boasters,
boasters,
proud,
proud,
blasphemers.
blasphemous of our own God. And by now, if you, I introduced myself to you a few moments ago in Hebrew. In English, is Mem Yod Kavod in Hebrew, Mika Yahweh in English. If you study my soul, you know also what the word Samson means. Then study Samson and who the troops were that I called in Micah chapter 5, verse 1, the troops. Even backwards, because you get the sport. You get the sport of Samson. And then study sport. And you know that all the comedians on the planet took notes from me. All of them. I'm responsible for the sense of humor. What else? One more verse out of that. This is getting good.
Disobedient to parents.
That's look, disobedient to parents. You have grown people that are disobedient to their parents today. Here they are, they're in their 30s, their parents in their 50s, and they're disobedient to them. Even calling them the scum of the earth. Their own parent. And then you have the nerve to say Happy Mother's Day. Happy Father's Day. Disobedient. Robbing your own parents from their identity. They're called identity theft. You are a thief and a liar. You are a liar and a thief. Robbing and dishonoring your own parents, your own mother, your own father. You're going to burn in hell and become a part of the logs of the hell and the fire. I promise you that in Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. If you think it's a lie, then try it. Continue to be a whoremonger and a harlot and a whore and a liar and a deceiver and an idolater. Continue to be a non-believer. And then find your part that burneth in the lake with fire and brimstone forever. I think that's enough for 2 Timothy. We got to go back to Matthew. What's it say in Matthew?
Verse 21, quote, "For then shall be great tribulation."
Yes.
such as was not since the beginning of the world to
Hmm.
this time, no, nor ever shall be.
Period. Period. And see, those who are here today, even those who were back there then and are still here today, those that were born, came out of the womb after 1990, those who came out of the womb after 1995, even some after 1983, came out the womb, have no idea and had no idea who my father is. Even as I have directly in back of me, as you can see on the screen in back of me, one of his photo images, one of several of his photo images that he left for you to see what body he used when he was here from October 27th, 1935, until he ascended back up into heaven on May 7th, Monday, May 7th, 2007. And common sense alone, again, they went to the mall and bought everything they don't need. They went to the mall and to the store and bought everything that they do not need and walked right by the shelf that had common sense. And they looked at the shelf, and looked at the package that said common sense and walked right by it and said, I can't afford it. Not even realizing that he's no longer here in the flesh, but in spirit. But he's here. Oh, he's here in flesh, but he's on up in heaven. Now, sometime he may come down and visit in another body he created for himself, but you won't see him. Even if you did see him, you wouldn't know him. But who's going to deliver Judah, as he promised in Jeremiah chapter 30, back to their own land? As some of my people have been deceived and believing that New Jerusalem is coming down from heaven by, I don't know what kind of craft can take such a huge weight of 1,500 square miles of the city and drop it right here in the middle of the United States, of which most states are not going to even be able to receive it. Not even realizing, again, common sense, even the frozen food section, common sense. But not even allow them to realize that the other 10 tribes over in the Middle East today, there are 10 tribes of Israel in the Middle East today. 2 are missing, Yehuda and Levi, also known as Judah and Levi, missing. Levi, known as the Haitians. Most are Port-au-Prince, Haiti, on a Caribbean island, Hispaniola, that were taken captive by the French. And the majority of Judah, Yehuda, is in the United States. And some are dwelling on the Caribbean islands, all kind of Caribbean islands out there. Jamaica, the Bahamas, Trinidad, Puerto Rico, all over the place. The Lesser Antilles. So I would like to know, for those who are being led by these men who are boosting themselves and lovers of themselves and false shepherds, I would like to know, how are the other 10 tribes of Israel in the Middle East going to come to the United States with this 1,500 square mile city of Jerusalem? New Jerusalem is going to fall in the United States, be bought by my father. What are they going to do? Come over on ships and show their passports to Homeland Security to walk in? They have a problem now with them walking into New York and LaGuardia, JFK, known as ISIS. Some of them. Could someone explain that to me? And there's supposed to be 3 gates on a 4 square side, 12,000 walking into each gate. And you have to know which 12,000 they are. That's just supposed to be the men. 12,000 times 12. They think it's 144,000. They can't even get 14 people to come into their congregation. Where are you going to get 144,000? Where are you going to get 12,000 from Judah? You can't even get 12 people to come and follow you. You can't get 12 Yehudites to come and follow your congregation. And you think you got 12 following you. They're not following you. They following Ma'ab. The rest of them, they just using you as an excuse to continue to pray. That's all they're doing. And here you are robbing them, telling them to give you their tithes, their money. They don't have to give you their stimulus check. You are not in the mode of stimulus checks. So you have them giving you their stimulus check as if you are their shepherd And then you look at me and tell them that you tell them, don't look at me because I'm false. Well, you better be able to explain what you're about to hear my op say in a video, a couple of videos.
Mhm.
And you better tell them what a planet called Yod is. If you can explain it, you better explain John chapter 15 and chapter 4. You better be the one with the living well water in your soul. You better be. If you're not, you're in trouble. You're going to bust the hell out of Jeremiah chapter 23. Literally, you're going to bust the hell out of Jeremiah chapter 23, all of it. You ran, but you wasn't sent. Yeah, you ran, but you wasn't sent. I think we should play that because you don't know. I think listen to see. All you can do is listen. You using your outer ear, not using the other four ears that you have. You are only using your outer ear. You have six. Why did you stop at only two? One on each side of your skull. This is just a reminder that you have six ears. When my Ab was here, my father was here, you were only using two. You were listening. You didn't hear. In order to hear, the one you listen to, the two you listen to, one on each side of your skull, got to get into your middle ear. Got to go into your middle ear where your sensitivity of sound is. Once the sensitivity of sound enters your middle ear, then it goes to your common sense that's in your inner ear. You have an outer ear, a middle ear, and an inner ear. Your inner ear is connected to your common sense. Your common sense is connected to your soul. Your soul is connected to your hearing. It connects your hearing. It identifies the sound that you hear. That way, it leaves you with common sense that you do not have. No knowledge. So let's see. And he kept reminding them and telling them. He even told them way back in the early 1980s when he wore a black outfit and head wrap on the podium. And he told them then that he was Yahweh, our Messiah. He said Yahweh, the Messiah. He didn't say Yahweh, then Yahweh. He said Yahweh, the Messiah. See, he is the Messiah, but there's another one that's called Messiahs. That's both. If you didn't know that, you better read Daniel chapter 9, verses 25 and 26. And he's going to mention that in another video we will hear in a minute. Building the temple back in 3 days. He said he is the Messiah, and I don't have any problems at all with that. None. I'll be the first to tell you he is the Messiah. All you have to do now is figure out who is Messiah. There's two. There's Messiah. Read it. You go on your own. You study. You say you study. You're supposed to be erudite. So since you are so erudite, then you read Daniel chapter 12, Daniel chapter 9 and verse 25. And then when you read that, then read verse 26 and see the difference. Because somebody's going to be cut off, but not for himself. He shall be rebuilding the temple in 3 days. Play that, please. Play. This is lesson number 1. Right in the beginning, he says what? Let's let them look. Listen.
Welcome. I am the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, Architect of the Universe, Blessed and Only Potentate. I'm the founder of the nation of Yude and Wape, true holiness and righteousness, the kingdom of Shalom, which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence.
Pause that, please. See, you were just listening to that. Yes, you were. Don't lie. You were only listening to that. The reason why you were listening is because when you heard his voice, you were so astonished until you began to listen. You did not hear a word that he said. And not only that, see, the reason why you were listening is because you didn't think he was even reading. You didn't know he was reading. You were listening to what he was reading, but you didn't know that. If you knew he was reading, you would have heard what he was saying. Because he wrote it and left it for you on records in every one of his books. In the beginning of every one of his books that he wrote, he put just what he said as a thesis of himself. He wrote. And I'm going to ask you to play that once again. Let's see if they can hear it this time. Now, if you cannot hear it, I brought with me an ear doctor. I brought with me an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And we're going to see if we can help you to hear. Because not only are your ears deaf, but your throat cannot swallow, and your nose cannot smell what's happening right now on the mountain. Would you replay that again, please?
Shalom Aleichem. I am the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, Architect of the Universe, Blessed and Omnipotent. I'm the founder of the nation of Yudhe true holiness and righteousness, the kingdom of Shalom, which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence.
The most powerful knowledge of peace in existence. And you think that peace is shalom. That peace has nothing to do with shalom. That peace is shalom. That peace that my fathers announced to this planet, and that you read in all of his books at the beginning, under his black and white photo image, is a man. That peace is a man. Now, let's prove it. Somebody turn to Micah chapter 5 and read verse 5. Micah chapter 5. First, read verse 2. Micah chapter 5, verse 2. King James Version, for those who are joining us, even if you are watching this recording, put it on pause and go and grab your King James Version Bible so you can follow the voice of another angel that you're going to hear come out of Revelation. Coming right out of Revelation. Read verse 2, please.
Micah 5, verse 2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though thou be little among the thousands of Yehudah.
The first thing that you thought when you read this, if you ever read it, is that this is taking place in Bethlehem. That's not Bethlehem. That's Beth. Beth to be here in another land. Along with the other Bath Nusofis and Beth Nusofis from the east. That's why it's Ephrathah, another land. Study Ephrathah. That means Judah be in another land in the south. And not Bethlehem. Could you imagine if it was those in the Middle East today? The devils, the false Jews. Trump thought it was. That's why he made Jerusalem the capital. But he knew better. See, he's wiser than you think he is. He knew it's not. Though thou be little among the thousands of Judah. Now, there's something's wrong with this picture because we know there's millions of Judah. See, that Bethlehem Ephrathah represents the south of a city where he would be and where he would come to, where there's only thousands, not millions in the United States. Yet what? What does it say?
Yet out of thee.
Out of thee. See, out of thee, which means he will come from out of Judah. He will come out of Judah, and the one he's coming to will come out of Judah. That's Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. That's also Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. The mighty God. And the person who's speaking is actually Micah, who's speaking. That he should come forth unto me. What me? My and me. My and me. You got that? Okay. Read on.
Yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me. That is to be ruler in Israel.
Who to be ruler in Israel?
Okay.
So there's someone who is coming to that is to be ruler in Israel or of Israel?
In Israel.
Wow, that means, see, he's not the ruler of Israel. He's not the king of Israel. Israel has his own king. They're known as Judah. See, Judah is the king of Israel, but there'll be a ruler who coming in Israel that has nothing to do with Israel, except to be their ruler. You got it? Why? Because he's ruling the planet, not just Israel. He's also known as the God of earth, the God of the earth. That's Revelation chapter 11.
Okay.
Who's what?
Whose going forth have been from of old.
The same one who's speaking, Micah, is telling the world that he is coming from old, from of old, not from old. His soul comes from of old. From everlasting?
From everlasting.
Yes, the same Micah comes from everlasting. Not to everlasting. That means Micah coming from the Ancient of Days. He comes from the one who sent him. There's only one who is of everlasting. There's only one everlasting and one who is of old, known as the Ancient of Days. And he told you back in 1981, 82, that he is Yahweh, the Messiah. They couldn't hear him. Why? They were using the outer ears. Read verse 5, please.
5.
Now, see, when he comes to this me, the me is the latter part. See, first he came to my. That's in the beginning. Back in the days of Egypt, he came to my rescue. Because Joshua, the son of Nun, was there. So he came to my. Mem-Yud, still the same thing. He came to Mem-Yud, my, in Hebrew. That's reference H4310. Mem-Yud, my. And there he was on the cross as I. In the beginning, 2,000 years ago. In the beginning, he was my. 2,000 years ago, he became I. A straight line on a tree with a head on the tree. I, lowercase. Being nailed to the tree. Hung on the tree. And at the end, last, he'll become me. Mem-Yod, again. I just told you a few moments ago, I'm the first and the last. I'm Mem and Mem Sophie. That's my and me. In the middle is I. So the city where the thousands of Judah would be called my and me. My I me. My I me. In the south. Why? Because the cities of the south shall be shut up, and none shall open them. And I come to carry Judah away captive, all of it. I'm going to carry all of those who were chosen captive, all of it. They shall be wholly carried away in a spaceship, not no slave ship. Do you not realize that Jeremiah comes after Deuteronomy chapter 28? And it has nothing to do with Nebuchadnezzar or Babylon. You are now in Babylon, babyland, the baby nation of the United States. The youngest nation that there is to become a nation in 1776, July 4th. Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh.
Now read verse 5.
Micah 5, verse 5. And this man shall be the peace.
The peace. The man shall be the peace.
And this man.
The same one who the Ancient of Days is going to come to from everlasting. Is going to be looking for one in Miami. And when he finds this one in Miami, then this man would be the peace. His foundation already happened in the beginning. In Genesis chapter 1, it's the foundation. That means this would be the true peace foundation. Not the false one. The true peace foundation. That he would build another temple in 3 days. That's got to have the foundation first. And when he comes, there's going to be some people. See, you would know when he comes because there'll be some people in the land where he was over 2,000 years ago that will now be treading in our palaces and in our homes and our villages. Read and see if it's not there.
When the Assyrians shall come.
See, no wonder they bombed Assyria the other night. Right, Joe? You know they don't belong there. Is it because you received my package in FedEx? Did you receive my package the other day, Joe? I sent you a package split in half. The staff is broken because I broke the serpent after I picked it up and cast him out into the earth. The staff is broken. The same staff that Moshe had, Moses, is now in two pieces, one for you and one for Kamala. Read it. If you hadn't read it, they're keeping it away from you, Joseph. You better read it. Is that why you bombed Syria the other night? Because there's some false people in our land? When the Assyrians shall come, also allegorically known as the Americans. What else it says in verse 5? That's 5. That's 2 That's both. It's also known as Yod Hey, Wab Hey. That's 2 The only thing missing now is Yod and Wab. But Hey is there twice. What?
And when he shall tread in our palaces.
I just told you it did that. And right now I'm here raising 7 shepherds, and all 7 of them are sitting right here in front of you. No one knew who they were, although they were hidden in Isaiah chapter 11, and verses 1 and 2. All 7 shepherds are here, and the 8 principal men are here too. You can see his photo image right in back of me. 8. One was born in the 7th month. One came out the womb in the 8th month. All 7 and 8. 15. Yod Hey. The number value of Yod is 10. The number value of Hey is 5. That's 15. The same as 8 and 7. Is not 8 and 7 15? And what day they came out the womb? The 15th day. That's even I shall both search my sheep and seek them out. You have no idea what that means. You want to be me? You better learn something. You better know what you're doing, because people are dependent on you to stand up for them. And what else it says?
Then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men.
I just told you that. And what? Is that it?
In the verse 5.
That's it. That's all you need. That's the end. You heard my arm just say, you should play that again, please. Let's go. See, let's see if you can hear it this time. Play that again.
Shalom Aleichem. I am the Grand Master of the Celestial Lodge, Architect of the Universe, blessed and only potentate. I'm the founder of the nation of Yudhe Wahe, true holiness and righteousness, the kingdom of Shalom, which is the most powerful knowledge of peace in existence.
Okay, did you hear that time? He said he's the founder of the nation of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, not the nation of Israel. He is the founder of the nation of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. He founded before it even existed. He architected it before it existed. Oh, did you hear that? They don't even know the architect. He sees my father said he's the architect of the universe, not the planet Earth, or the planet that's called Earth. Again, I repeat, this planet is called Kima. The third into existence. The third. The second one messed up. He was cast out. You know, he's known in the Bible as Hillel. He was once the archangel. He was the third. He was the second. So he was cast out. When he was cast out, then my made the third and created a planet, created a spaceship for him to fly in, and then brought the spaceship here and set it right here in this orbit. A spaceship. This is nothing but a spaceship. 6 sextillion tons of it. He flew a 6 sextillion ton spaceship to this orbit, set it on its own axis to then revolve around the sun and spin at the same time at 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. See the 1/3? That's the part I'm going to save and bring through the fire. A third. That's Zechariah chapter 13, verse 9. Read it. It's not a coincidence. Verse 9 as of September. He flew the ship here and put it here, and then he bought company. See, he bought it here, me and him, me and him in that order. Me and, him and me.
Okay.
See, because he created me and found me. You just heard him say, I found her.
Okay.
So him and me, and the reason why I said me is because, see, water was here. I was water before I became flesh. Then I was the word before flesh. Architect. And after he flew it here, and it was only him and I, and they said, let us make man in our image. Him and me. And then he said, chapter 2, that it's not good that I be alone. So then he founded the rest of the nation of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. They called angels today, and brought them to me to see what I would call them. And whatever I named them, that was the name thereof, and they're coming right back again today. I know each one by name. It's proven. But they don't even know what an architect is. The Son of God would never say he is the architect of the universe, to put himself in a position to be here before the universe. That means he would be putting himself in a position to be here before himself. And yet he was formed of the dust of the ground in chapter 2 of Genesis. That doesn't make any sense. Here we go again, walking by the produce section now of common sense, and squeeze it and still walk by it and say it's not right. We have another angel's voice that you're going to hear. You heard a few moments ago. It's going to look at the dictionary for you. We brought our own dictionary with us because you claim to be erudite and you know it all, but yet you don't know what an architect is. So since my father just reminded you again, as we shared with you in the reminder that he is the architect of the universe, we're going to take the liberty and the pleasure to look up architect for you, since you don't do it in school. You didn't do it in school. No, you hanging out across the street at the 7-Eleven, drinking beer and smoking Black and Miles. You're supposed to be in the 7th period at 11 o'clock. But you chose not to go to 7th period to learn what architect is. And after all of that June, you thought, or May, you thought you graduated. You didn't graduate, you gradulated. You became a graduate. Because you gradually faded out. Thought you graduated. You didn't graduate. And then you thought you had a diploma. You weren't diplomat. You don't have no diploma. You were deployed into hell. Became more of those deployed out in hell. Learning nothing. Everything there is to know about nothing. And then you had some fella by the name of Brown come along and say you were talking loud and saying nothing. You don't know nothing. We don't even know what architect is. You probably thought it was some kind of artist who had a tech in his shoe. Got a thumbtack in his shoe. Or somebody named Arthur who got a technicality because he made a mistake. He was a foul. Read what architect is, please, in that dictionary. Say the name, give the name in case they want to go look it up. They want to go research it for themselves. If you have a dictionary at home, then you go ahead and put this on pause if you're watching the video. Go grab your dictionary and look up architect, and then rejoin us a little later when you look it up, and then press the play button and continue to listen and watch this. What we have an architect, or what?
I'm quoting from the Webster New 20th Century Dictionary.
The Webster's New 20th Century Dictionary.
Okay, copyright 1955.
Copyright 1955, the unabridged edition. Unabridged edition. Second edition. On page what?
Page 98.
On page 98, you have architect. It falls under A. For those who didn't graduate, A comes before B. B comes after A. When you put both of them together, you have in Hebrew Ab, Aleph Beth. That means father. He's A, I'm B. Together we are. What you have? What does it say? Architect.
Architect. One skilled in the art of building.
One who is skilled in the art of building. That is not the Son of God. He had to be created to learn how to skill and to build. So the one who did that, who created him and formed him, already knew how to be skilled and build him and build a universe. That means he built the universe first, and then he built his son and formed his son. And that's all 9 planets that Houston knows of, Houston, Texas. They only know of 9 planets. You can't, again, I'll say it again, you can't see Yod. You don't even know where that is. And you don't even know how many planets are inside of Saturn because there's too many rings around it to see. 6 times the size of this planet. There's too many rings for you to see how many planets there really are that's hidden inside of Saturn. You think Saturn is one planet. How could that be when it's 6 times the size of this one? That's why you sat on it. You don't know. He built that. But before he built the universe, he sketched it out in his mind. You know what mind that is? That's omnipotent. No wonder he said the blessed and only potentate. That's omnipotent. He drew something and then said, I'm going to do it, and built it. But the first thing he drew and architected was himself. And you got to shake your head. SMH. He formed himself. He's self-incarnate. Self-created. Because you must ask yourself the question, who created God? And you know he exists. How could you say you exist and he don't exist? And he created you. You're not bound to you. You're bound to him. You can't kill him. At least that's what the United States government thinks. They think they killed God. They thought God died on May 7, 2007. And when they thought that, then they thought they can rule forever. I sent them a video. I sent them a recording. I even said, you forgot of me. You forgot about me. And you're going to hear in a minute. He warned you back in 1983. At the time, I was in another city when he was saying it, that he sent me. So he sent me, M.I., to the same state where I was when he was saying it. And you still couldn't pick up on that. Architect the universe, someone who's skilled in building, that means he drew a black print with no blueprints. He drew a black print in the dark, and he still hides in the darkness right now. They're his secret places. And what else it says?
One who designs
How many?
buildings. One.
Your dictionary is saying one. No wonder you say I am. One who is what?
One who designs buildings.
One who designs building. That means the buildings that you see, these planets that are designed are not even completed. They're just designed. He's still building. You haven't seen what else he built, even on this planet. You got to go into the Earth crust, this planet crust, to see what else he built, but you can't see it. It's called bottomless. My father built bottomless. That means you will never see it and never reach it. Never reach it. And then you turn that upside down. When you look up, you still can't see it because it's bottomless. You call it the sky of heaven. Bring me the end of heaven. And while you're at it, show me a calendar that shows the date when forever ended. I said, show me a calendar that has a date on it after December that shows when forever will end. And then I will show you when I would go away, because I was prophesied to be living forever. And so are those who are with me that would believe in me they will have everlasting life. Now show me what date that would end. And you're looking for them to die. Some are looking to die to go to heaven, not even realizing they're already there. Sticking shotguns in their mouth so they can get there quickly. You want to go to heaven, but I don't see everybody killing themselves to get there. Suicidal. He built and designed, and it still isn't complete. You know why? Because he's bringing another city. Oh, and the name of the city is not New Jerusalem, by the way. What else it says? Architect.
Draws up plans.
See, he's just drawing up. He drew up plans first. He planned it. He planned it. He drew it up. He built it. Now he's still planning, because he have to draw up another plan to destroy the devil, and he's working on that. See, another part of his architectural work and skill is that he already drafted out the way he's going to kill and destroy the devil. Hadn't been built yet, but he's building and working on it. And you're going to hear him say that in a minute. Of inheritance. And what else?
And generally supervises the construction.
He supervises construction. Can you imagine? And that's what he said. You heard that from his own voice, mouth, body. Back in the days when that was recorded, of course, he did that in his body. The body that he chose, he had that back then. Is that correct? We're going to let you hear it in a few moments. He says he's the architect of the universe, which means he built the universe before. He designed it before it was built. And I strongly believe, and I strongly mind that the Son of God would never claim to build the universe before he put God in it. That's ludicrous. And they still think he's a son, not realizing that Yahweh ben Yahweh does not mean God is the son, or the son is God. That means God is there with his son. Yod He Wav He, God. Beth Nusofe, Yod He Wav He, the Son of God. I, even I. You can't see how he spaces it out when he writes it on the book, print on the book. It's spaced out. It's not jammed together like some of our fools of my people of Judah have jammed it all together to become one long word, doubling itself. Some fool even had the nerve to go shave off his head, shave off his hair, and he became thrice. Jammed all together. Why? Be why? Be why? Yeah, well, I'm asking the question. Why? Why did you do that? B. And we know what the B means. And I don't even mean ball. I don't mean ball. Why did you do that, B? Why? Why, B? Why, B? Why? Why did you do that? Looking for fame. You miss your mommy? You were abused as a child? You looking for fame? Well, give me your address. I'll send you a donut. I'll send you a donut. FedEx. That way it wouldn't be so stale when you get it. It doesn't matter anyway because it'll match your breath, your mouth, and your sensitivity. You don't have any kind of common sense. You don't know what you put yourself into, boy. You want to be me. You want to be me. Can't you see my face and see that my face and my hair is just what they said it would be in Revelation? Chapter 1. When my father ascended, his hair wasn't like this. So it was him who signified it. It was for me to exemplify it. He signified it. I'm exemplifying it. You can't see that. You can't see skin as fine brass. You can't see it. My orb is bright. He's the greater light. I'm the lesser light. To divide the firmament of heaven from that of the planet. You can't see that. Well, let's let him tell you. Let's take a listen to this, and we're gonna get ready to pause it because they can't hear it. They're only listening. Just take a listen to this from almost at the beginning. Okay, start at 7 for the sake of time. 7 minutes. Let's go a perfect 7 minutes into. If you want to hear it in its entirety, then you can. Just go to YouTube. You'll find on the inheritance. You can listen to all of it because you can't hear it. We're gonna help you to hear some of it. You got it? Play it.
Being the rightful heir. Then we have examples of the heirship being changed by divine election, Yahweh. And yeah, I know that's the way it is according to the natural order, but I know what you don't know, understand what you do not understand. My ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are higher above your thoughts, so I'm changing it. I made it, so if I want to change it, it's my authority, and I change it, and that's all to that. Now, I know Ishmael was firstborn, but I want Isaac. I know Esau was firstborn, but I want Jacob.
Good gracious.
I know Reuben was firstborn, but I think I'll take my line on through Joseph. I know Adoniah was the firstborn, but I think I'll take Solomon.
Good gracious.
I think I'll change it around. And that's what he did. That's right, you didn't know that? Adoniah was supposed to be, he was older than Solomon, but he didn't get it. Didn't make him very happy either. So this didn't make Ishmael too happy. They're so upset they still over there sitting on our land now. They haven't offered us a drop of oil. Well, not one oil well. I read where Esau's not too happy either, saying he has a perpetual hatred. Because of heirship, see? Esau sold his birthright, gave it up. Yahweh didn't choose it anyway. So when he sold it, he was right in Yahweh's plan, brother. Yahweh already had it fixed up, he was just waiting on him. And then Esau figured out, wow, I blew it. Man, I told my to have this for a bowl of soup. But the world is out of order because the rightful heir is not in place. They conspire to kill the rightful owner, the son of Yahweh.
Good gracious.
Matthew 21, 38. Read. But when the husbandman saw the son,
Pause for a
they
moment.
said among themselves,
Let's join them. And you just heard my father. They're reading one thing, but he says another thing. And you know why you didn't hear it? Because you were listening. If you could have heard what he was saying, he would tell you right then who he is. So turn to Matthew chapter 21, was it?
21, verse 38.
And verse 38. They read one thing, and he turned around and paused them and said another. So someone read that, please.
Quote,
Yes.
but when the husbandmen saw the son,
Yes.
they said among themselves, this is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance.
Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh.
And then you heard him say, when the husbandman, the book reads husbandmen, but he says husbandman. Play on. Let it play on. Couldn't hear it.
is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and let us seize on his inheritance. 1983 years ago, they had done the great hatchet job and been accomplished.
Now, you just heard my father say when they killed the son 1983 years ago, they thought they did a hatchet job or whatever, etc. That's 19. This was being recorded in 1983. In 1983, he sent me to Detroit, Michigan, the whole state called Michigan. The abbreviation of Michigan is MI. I was the first elder from and of the Celestial Lodge that he sent to Michigan. MI, as in Ma and me, as in Mem and Yod, as in Mika. I then became Elder Mika. And here he is back at the temple while this is supposed to be the Feast of Tabernacles, 1983. Right? Okay. Feast of Tabernacles, 1983. I was sent to Michigan, but I was right there in the temple. Go back. I was right there in the temple, 1983, sitting right there among him when he was saying this. I first went to Jacksonville. He first sent me to Jacksonville in 1982. And from Jacksonville, we came down to the temple for Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread in April of 1983. We came to Passover and Feast of Unleavened Bread in April of 1983. In April of 1983, I did not return back to Jacksonville. He put me on a bus. And I started to say they is because through the instructions to Sister Judith, who was known as Sister Judith at the time, she bought the ticket and put me on a Greyhound bus. They drove me to the bus station downtown Miami and put me on the bus. I rode 30 some hours from Miami and arrived in Detroit, Michigan in April of 1983 on a Sunday. Downtown Detroit, Michigan was dead. Only a few people walking around, and it was cold. I had on a Florida-made robe. I had no idea how cold it was in Michigan. I had with me what they call today a backpack, but I had like a suit bag, a duffel bag that had a VHS recorder in it, a tape of Our Nation of Introduction, and some books, yellow books. You Are Not a Nigger, The World's Best Kept Secret, and some literature. I had only the robe on my back and a couple of changes of garments and underwear in that bag. That's all I had. When I hopped off that Greyhound and walked downtown Jefferson Street in Detroit that morning, Sunday, no one was hardly there. I called international headquarters that Sunday and told Sister Judith that I had arrived. She then gave me some information of some people who were interested in Yahweh and gave me their number to call them, and I did, and told them where I was from, Miami. And they took me in. They gave me the address, told me to catch a bus, get off when they get off, tell the bus driver where to get off. I got off a little ways down from Highland Park on Woodward Avenue. I got off the bus, rang the bell. They invited me in. I gave them the word. They were the first who I sold myself to as who I am. And they invited me to ask me if I had a place to stay. No, I do not. I just got here. Well, you can rest right here. You can stay right here on the sofa till you find a place. And I did. I accepted the invitation. I had no place to go. I didn't take neither script nor clothes. I did not come off the rooftop and go back in the house. Neither did I go back in to get any clothes from the field. I went just as my father sent me. And that was the middle of April that year. When I woke up the next morning in Detroit, Michigan, in the middle of April, I looked out the window and there was 3 inches of snow on the ground. And the whole city of Detroit freaked out. It's supposed to be spring. That means my father announced my arrival to the whole state of Michigan that day with the snow. And it was the first time that I saw snow in this body since my soul was in the body. The very first time I only saw flakes in 1977 in Miami-Dade County. In Opelika, I saw flakes, just flurries, but not 3 inches of snow. That's how I knew I was in the right place. But you heard him say 1983. That means that September, I came back down. All the elders were commanded to be at headquarters, international headquarters, during the Feast of Tabernacles. There were only 2 that we were commanded to be to of the 3 high holy days. That's Tabernacles, Feast of Tabernacles, and Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread. The Feast of Weeks was not mandatory. And why is it that my father wanted all the elders to be there for the Feast of Tabernacles, and especially me? And that was my first trip back from Michigan. That September, Feast of Tabernacles, 1983. I was right there with him. Because why? Because I came out of the womb on the 15th day of the 7th month, which is September, at the Feast of Tabernacles. I came right out of the womb the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles. Why else do you think he came and told them that he wanted to return to Miami on September 26, 2001? So he could be right on time at sundown for the Feast of Tabernacles celebration at sundown. That means what? Every September at sundown, the 26th, is the first day of the Feast of Tabernacles. To honor what? To honor the Son of Yahweh. And this devil have you thinking it's December 25th every year. So if you want to be me, you better try and find your way into a womb and come out the 15th day of the 7th month. You best do it in a hurry too, because we run out of time. But that was September, the Feast of Tabernacles, 1983. You heard him say it 1993 years ago. I was there. But they couldn't even see or know who he was speaking of. Continue to play that, please.
He stood in that presence and said, "You see this temple being built?
He stood in
It shall be
presence.
torn down, but in 3 days I shall rebuild it up again."
Put on pause for a minute.
We are that.
You couldn't even hear it. Here I was right there with my arm, even standing up as we applauded. He is saying, he stood right in the midst of them. Right in the midst of them. Sitting right there as an elder. Right there. All the elders sat in a particular place. We stood in a particular place. Right in the midst of them. Saying, see this temple? I'm rebuilding it in 3 days. It's been fulfilled. That's also for your notes. That's Daniel chapter 9 and verse 26. Actually, start at verse 25 and 26. Because that was the Messiah who said it. See, that is the Messiah who said it. Right now, you look at the screen, you're looking at the Messiah. But he was speaking of a Messiah or Messiahs. See, Moshe was a Messiah. That's why he only used Moses for a little while, because he was a Messiah. Joshua was a Messiah, not the. He finally, in 1981, or late 80s, 1980, he finally told us he is the Messiah. Yahweh, Yahshua, first Yahshua, the Messiah, then Yahweh, the Messiah. He kept giving you precepts, but you still could not hear him. Why? Because you were listening. So let's see if you can listen some more. You can hear this time.
Body, that temple that was torn down and after here in America and totally destroyed. But after 300 years, we're being built back again. They tried to destroy and kill him off, but it didn't work. So verse 39 said they cast him out and killed him. They did kill him. So they cast us out of our land and did kill us mentally, cut us off, fulfill Psalms 83. But the book says in verse 40, payday is coming. You killed my son 1983 years ago.
Good.
You killed my son.
Pause. You only listening. He's not reading. He's making an announcement to all of those who are deaf, to all who are blind, to all who are lame and couldn't even walk, to all who had no knowledge, who were sleeping in a deep sleep, the spirit of deep sleep, according to Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 10. During the Feast of Tabernacles, according to Leviticus chapter 23, and verses 34, 35, and 36. That's what that is. But you couldn't hear it. Why? Because you were listening. Those who were there then were listening. There's some who are still here today that were there then. They were only listening. And here we are now walking the dry goods section, walking right by common sense. Wouldn't even allow them to realize that he's not here. Now they turn him into a spiritual God, a Christian religious God, treating him just like they do the white boy that never existed. Still does not exist. That white deity that y'all are worshiping in church tomorrow does not exist. They have some who exist like him. They're known as Cubans, Greeks, Spanish people, Hispanics, Mexico, and all of them most of them are carrying around the name known as Jesus. But they don't exist. They only exist as people. Actually, mankind. They are a kind of a man. Out of Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27, 28. Mankind. Did you just hear my father say, you killed my son? You killed my son. Let that play continue, please.
But what do you think I'm going to do about it? Smile? Forgive you for killing my son? You think I'm going to forgive you for killing my heir? No. And I'm going to get vengeance. Because you killed my son.
Good gracious.
You became greedy and jealous and wanted my property. It wasn't yours. I let you use it. I said you could use it for 6,000 years. I gave you a lease.
He did that.
6,000 year lease. What was your repayment to me? Kill my son to see his inheritance. But I'm going to come and see about my own land. I am the husbandman.
Pause. He said it, but he didn't hear it. There's nothing. See, I have the power to make the blind see. I really do. I even have the power to make the deaf hear. I also can heal. And I can wound and I can kill. I could also make alive. Why you think it says I, even I, in Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 39? The reason this announcement is being made today is because I'm in search for my sheep. I'm only looking for those who are few that were chosen. I'm not looking for the many that are watching and are called. Now, if you don't believe me for who I am, if you believe my Father, then believe also in me. For I've come to do the works that he come to do to finish the works. And he sent me to finish his works. But if you don't believe me for who I am, then come to Miami and come and see and believe me for my very work's sake and see what I have created to continue to build a temple in 3 days. You just heard my Father say he is the husbandman. Now, as I close, I pray to my Father that I get more of my sheep after they see this video because time is short. So therefore, I'm going to close this video by delivering this message. I'm going to deliver this message according to what I left in the diary. Here's what I left in the diary over 1,983 years ago. Here's what I'm going to share with those today. Let me hold your Bible. I'm going to read it from the Bible. If you want to read with me, as I quote verbatim, John chapter 15. I'm going to read that. Not the entire chapter, of course, but I'm going to read what my just said, my Father. I'm going to come behind what he said to introduce myself to him and how I'm connected to him. Verse 1. I am the true vine. I am the true vine. And my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and took away my inheritance, as he did. And every branch that beareth fruit, purify it, not purgeth it. They purified it. These devils didn't know. Why would I want to purge it? It's the same branch. Why? That it may bring forth more fruit. Now, doesn't that make more sense? Instead of purging it, you purge it, you get rid of it. See how I have to come and give you all truth, opposed to what the devil lies? So, with that said, now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. That's the first three. That's the third day. The first three verses. I very strongly suggest that you come to Yod Heh. You better fly to your God. Fly to Yahweh before it's too late. With that said, we have other messages that we must bring to this planet, and we will in the future. But for now, that's all we have to say. That's all you need to know. For now. Praise the Lord. So with that said, I say Shalom Aleichem to my people, only my people. Shalom Aleichem.